Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news, the U.S. Supreme Court unanimously dismisses a case that would have restricted access to the abortion pill mifepristone.
And we are heating up out here on the WRAL weather patio. Temperatures are already in the mid-80s, and today just begins our stretch of 90s. I'll let you know how long it lasts.
And WRAL continues our coverage of the 124th U.S. Open. It is in full swing in Pinehurst. You see plenty of people out there. We'll have a live report from Jeff Hogan here in just a bit. First, we want to say thank you for joining us here on WRAL News. I am Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Renee Chu. Meteorologist Kat Campbell is live out on the WRAL weather patio with a look at how hot temperatures will be for fans in Pinehurst and throughout our viewing area.
Well, we're going to have several hours with temperatures in the 90s today, and that will add up over time. So make sure that if you are headed out to Pinehurst today that you are staying hydrated. It's 83 degrees around there right now, a heat index of 84. 84 here in the Triangle, feeling like 84. And the highest heat index is Goldsboro, where it's 82 with a heat index of 86 degrees for your lunch hour. High temperatures today, town by town, right around 90 for Southern Pines, 90 in the Triangle, and 91 in Fayetteville, 89 in Rocky Mount. Tomorrow is when the heat really cranks up. We're going to be back in the mid-90s, the hottest day so far this year. 94 in Durham as well as Raleigh, 95 Fayetteville, 91 degrees in Rocky Mount, and still in the 90s for Roxborough even. The U.S. Open forecast for tomorrow is already starting out at 70 degrees. Even at 6 o'clock, it's going to be warm. By 10 a.m., we're up to 80. By noon, in the upper 80s, and then low to mid-90s for hours tomorrow afternoon. We're also keeping an eye on a couple of areas to watch in the tropics. I'll have an update on those coming up.
Kat, thanks. Now back to Moore County, where the eyes of the golf world are on some of the game's top players. The 124th U.S. Open is now in full swing at Pinehurst No. 2. That's where we find our resident amateur golfer, Jeff Hogan, getting to watch the pros in action. Hi, Jeff. All right, we seem to be having microphone issues with Jeff, but let's get out to, let's run that sound from Governor Cooper, who was also there at Pinehurst.
In talking with the USGA and getting them to come back here, securing future U.S. Opens right here in Pinehurst for decades to come, that's an exciting win for our state.
And I tell you what, Renee, one of the things here is we've seen so many people going out there to Pinehurst, and that's made possible also because a special train service made its first trip from Raleigh to Pinehurst for the U.S. Open today. More than 2,000 golf fans are expected to take the Open Express this week. This is a look at the train when it arrived at Pinehurst No. 2 this morning. Hundreds of fans boarded the train around 7 o'clock this morning to avoid the hassle of traffic and parking too.
Thousands upon thousands of people in like one small area, and there's not a lot of parking in the different villages and the different areas, so they're going to probably either run out or you're going to be parking way away and have to deal with like still walking to get there. So it's just so much more convenient because you're going to take the train and be right where you need to be.
And just a heads up, the Open Express will run on a morning and evening schedule today through Sunday. The train will leave Raleigh Union Station at 7 o'clock and leave Cary at 7:15. It's scheduled to arrive in Pinehurst just before 9:15 every morning, and the evening train will leave Pinehurst at 6:35. WRAL is your home for the U.S. Open. Be sure to tune into WRAL for all the action from the first tee to the 18th green. Network coverage begins with the second round tomorrow, and Jeff Hogan and Gerald Owens will lead our coverage on WRAL live from Pinehurst. You can get all your content on your phone, your tablet, and your TV too.
Now to breaking news. The U.S. Supreme Court unanimously rejected an effort to restrict access to the abortion pill. A group of anti-abortion doctors questioned the FDA's decision to make it easier to get mifepristone. The court ruling means that opponents cannot sue over ideological or moral issues. Another regulatory decision left in place means women can still obtain the pill within 10 weeks of gestation instead of 7.
And happening right now in the WRAL Life Center, we're monitoring reaction to this news. Renee, first, I want to show you a tweet from Attorney General Josh Stein. He posted this to X, writing, "The Supreme Court rejected a lawsuit challenging the regulation of the abortion pill mifepristone. This ruling preserves our recent win here in North Carolina defending mifepristone. We must prevail in November to protect women's reproductive freedoms." I am checking Governor Cooper's Twitter. He has not tweeted anything as of yet, but another representative here that is actually voicing his opinion as well. Representative Jamie Raskin of Maryland saying today is a victory for people who think we should all make our own medical decisions with our doctors. And he writes, in the end, the fight for freedom and health care does continue.
Michelle, thank you. And folks, the breaking news just keeps on coming. As WRAL has learned, NC State is asking the highest court in the state to block outside access to Pohl Hall. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur has been tracking this case for 7 months and joins us with reaction to this. So, Keely, how are NC State workers and students feeling about this?
I mean, they've been on a roller coaster. 209 people have reported that they developed cancer after working or studying in Pohl Hall. They've reported it to us. I spoke with a handful of them this morning. They say they're upset about this latest challenge, but not surprised. This week's filing marks the second time NC State has challenged a Superior Court's decision to permit independent testing of Pohl Hall. Now, last November, the university closed the building after toxic chemicals known as PCBs were found inside. Hundreds of people who tell 5 on your side they became sick with cancer after working in Pohl Hall say they don't trust the NC State-sponsored testing and want that independent testing done. Now, last week, an appeals panel affirmed the lower court's decision to allow more building testing. NC State is once again challenging that, basically saying that we have sovereign immunity because we are state-funded and we do not need to do pre-discovery. They're saying they're not subject to that. Now, building samples are critical because it will help people understand what they may have been exposed to. That's why the independent testing is crucial to those folks. The information gained by independent testing could pave the way for lawsuits in the future. These workers and students who became sick really can't take legal action, i.e. file lawsuits, until they get university evidence by getting into the building, which is one of the reasons why NC State is trying to stop this.
Okay, obviously something you'll keep on following for us. Thank you, Keely. The legality of North Carolina's voting maps is back before a 3-judge panel today. Former Republican Supreme Court Justice Bob Orr is leading the charge in this. He is arguing that the state's congressional and legislative districts violate voters' constitutional right to a free and fair election. He says they're drawn to favor one party or the other so strongly that the outcome of an election is preordained. Republican lawmakers say the courts have no authority on the issue because redistricting is a political matter. They're asking the court to dismiss the case. The state Supreme Court argued with lawmakers in a similar ruling last year.
Investigators are searching for the cause of a fire that damaged several units at a storage facility in Raleigh. Sky 5 flew over the scene as smoke poured from the building on Diggs Drive. This is off Lake Wheeler Road. Fire officials on scene say 17 storage units were damaged. No one was hurt. Crews got a call about the flames just after 6:15 this morning. And with outdoor temperatures rising, the division chief says they need manpower to keep crews safe.
Multiple firefighters on the scene help us continue to rotate crews through. Even they may stay on scene, we have an opportunity for them to rest, hydrate, and then work again after they get some downtime. So manpower is critical during this time of year.
How they're trying to beat the heat. We're working to find out what caused the storage fire. Look for updates on air and online.
Raleigh police are investigating a shooting at a home near the Village District. Sky 5 flew over the scene on Mayview Road yesterday afternoon, just before 1 o'clock. Police say that a home and a parked car were hit by gunfire. Officers haven't said whether this shooting was targeted or maybe even random, but no one was hurt, and so far, no arrest has been made. Right now, community leaders from across the state are discussing ways to prevent suicide in North Carolina. The statewide summit on suicide prevention is going until 5 p.m. at the UNC Friday Center in Chapel Hill. Leaders are discussing ways to update the state's suicide prevention plan, availability on resources, and progress, too. According to the State Department of Health and Human Services, suicide is the second leading cause of death for young people ages 10 to 18. It is the third leading cause of death for people 19 to 34. 34. And folks, if you know someone who is experiencing mental health challenges or having suicidal thoughts, there is help available. You can contact the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at any time. The number right there on your screen, 988. You can also visit WRAL.com and search the words "Get Help" for additional resources in our area.
There's still time for people facing homelessness or at-risk situations to take part in an event taking place in downtown Raleigh. Raleigh's Housing and Neighborhoods Department will host Meet Us at the Square. People can get a free health screening, a haircut, and a shower. There will also be experts helping with employment, legal issues. Veterinarians will be there to check on pets. It's happening at Moore Square until 2 o'clock. Let's take a look at stocks now. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 281 points as investors weigh encouraging inflation data. It appears inflation pressures are easing. The S&P 500 still at near record levels at 5,400, and NASDAQ advancing 20 points at this hour.
You could run into some traffic snarls through downtown Raleigh today, and that is because there are 4 graduations happening now through this evening. Ceremonies are underway right now at Memorial Auditorium for Middle Creek High School, followed by Crossroads Flex at 2 in Mandy Hall. Then at 4, East Wake High students will march at Memorial Auditorium, and then finally students at Score Academy will turn their tassels at 6 p.m. at Mandy Hall.
Congratulations to all the graduates. Next at noon, 2 years after the U.S. Capitol riot, Donald Trump is on Capitol Hill meeting with Republicans. Hear what the GOP hopes to promote with the visit and what Trump wants to address.
Plus, maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's a fake woman spreading propaganda and disinformation. Up next, a look at a new social media strategy from abroad to tamper with U.S. elections.
The first wave has played its golf and is off the course. The afternoon wave, they're the ones that are going to feel the heat today. They're out there right now. They'll flip it tomorrow, so they'll all get a chance to feel that heat and pressure of Pinehurst number 2 from the Sandhills to the coast. We've got your forecast coming up next with Kat Campbell.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
This afternoon, former President Donald Trump is scheduled to visit Capitol Hill for the first time since the January 6th Capitol attack. He's expected to address Senate Republicans about his priorities if he wins the November election. Many congressional Republicans are firmly behind Trump. However, there's a divide among some Republican members due to multiple legal cases. And the Biden-Harris campaign wasted no time releasing a television ad in response to Trump's visit. They say that the ad will remind voters of the violence he inspired after losing the November 2020 election.
On January 6th, Donald Trump lit a fire in this country.
140 officers were injured. The siege lasted for 7 hours.
Stoking the flames of division and hate. Now he's pouring gasoline.
They were unbelievable patriots.
Pledging to pardon the extremists who tried to overthrow our government.
We will give them pardons.
The ad will run today across all battleground states during local newscasts.
Election years typically heighten the risk of cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns from foreign countries. This year is no different. Ted Lindner reports on an interesting tactic being used to spread lies online.
Intelligence experts are ramping up warnings to political campaigns and government leaders over the increased risk of foreign adversaries trying to spread disinformation online ahead of the November presidential election. An official from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence says Russia, China, Iran, and even Cuba are behind these efforts, with Russia proven to be the #1 threat.
Their effort to spread disinformation about U.S. elections, their invasion of Ukraine.
And new research is showing how these shifty players are able to mislead some people so easily.
On the internet, it pays to be female.
Foreign countries are using chatbots and fake social media accounts that pose as women to spread lies and propaganda.
Human beings are more likely to view women as warm and approachable, making it more likely that they view fake accounts as real humans.
And the mind trick is working, with fake female profiles getting more online interaction from real people than accounts with fake male personas.
The human brain remains remarkably easy to hack, thanks to age-old stereotypes about men and women.
While the goal wasn't to spread disinformation, Even U.S.-based OpenAI saw the appeal of having a female voice for its programs.
When Hollywood actress Scarlett Johansson declined OpenAI's request to use her voice on one of its newest AI programs, she said the company's CEO told her voice would be, quote, comforting to users. She threatened to sue after the company went with voice instead that she said was eerily similar to her own.
And that was Ted Lindner reporting. President Joe Biden and other dignitaries met today in Italy to discuss the ongoing crisis in the Ukraine and Gaza. The world leaders then took part in a photo op before their first meeting of the G7 summit. The group plans to use frozen Russian assets to lend money to Ukraine while expanding sanctions against Russia. All this as the U.S. tries to broker a ceasefire deal in the Israel-Hamas war.
Tee to green, we know that Pinehurst number 2 here is a very difficult golf course just with the playing conditions as they are. You throw in some heat into the mix, makes it that much more difficult, especially when you think about the fact that half of the field tees off in the morning, the other half in the afternoon. So tomorrow they will flip that around, so every player will get a chance to have similar conditions, if you want to call it that. But this is summertime heat that they are feeling now. A little bit of cloud cover right now as we see. And that breeze feels good, I can tell you that for certain. But the players, they're feeling the heat out there on these greens. And Kat Campbell is in the WRAL weather patio right now. I don't know if it's any different back in Raleigh, but
it's
certainly
pretty hot
here.
out here, Jeff. But man, it looks like it's going to be a fun day out there. Just make sure you find some shade and get that water. Visit the water refill stations. In Pinehurst, temperatures are already in the mid 80s. They'll be in the 90s by the time we get to the afternoon. It's going to be a hot day out there, but you can see a lot of fans. It's not preventing anybody from getting out that way. The good news is humidity can definitely be worse than this time of year. It's not terrible, it's tolerable, we'll put it that way. Dew points are in the mid 60s this afternoon. At their worst, we typically see dew points in the 70s during the summer months, so it definitely gets a lot worse than this for this time of year. It's a good afternoon to pick up some ice cream, though, to help cool you down. I know a lot of kids just got out of school yesterday. Maybe celebrate with ice cream today. 90 degrees at 4 o'clock. If you wait till after dinner, should be in the mid 80s out there tonight. I was driving past an ice cream place yesterday on my way home from work, and it was packed. Definitely good news for those ice cream spots with the summer heat in place. We're watching an area of low pressure that's just offshore. There is still a chance that it could become tropical. We call these homegrown systems. It could develop close to home, and we are seeing some wind gusts to about 20 miles per hour at the South Carolina coast from this system, and we are seeing increased wave heights as well. So the main concern, whether or not it develops at all, will be a rip current risk for the weekend. There's about a 20% chance of it developing over the next couple of days. However, that chance could go up quickly, so don't let that catch you off guard. If it does go up, we'll get an update around 1 o'clock, and the system in the southern Gulf of Mexico, closer to the Bay of Campeche, has about a 40% chance of developing, so that chance has gone up. Let's talk about the model plots for this system that could develop off the southeast coast. Something I wanted to point out here is I put those over top of the sea surface temperatures where you can see where we've got the Gulf Stream right in here. It may stay just far enough east, just barely far enough east to not go right over the Gulf Stream, and that may help to limit the chances of developing. But it'll come close, so this definitely bears watching. Regardless, the rip current risk will increase, and today it's up to a medium risk for all of the North Carolina and South Carolina coast. We could even see a couple of spots upgraded to high tomorrow, so please keep this in mind if you're visiting the beach this weekend. Tomorrow, high temperatures are going to be around the mid 80s for our southern beaches. Saturday, we're in the low to mid 80s. It's warm, it's sunny, it should be nice if you're headed that way for Father's Day weekend. Around here, we've got 91 for the high Saturday, 90 on Sunday for Father's Day. It's going to be hot this weekend, but not terribly humid out there. Tomorrow will be the hottest day, 94 degrees tomorrow. Temperatures take a small dip over the weekend. Highs around 90, lows back in the 60s, but next week, we're going to be right back in the low to mid 90s once again.
Ooh, that Friday is going to be smoking. Coming up today on WRAL News at 4 p.m., a 3-judge panel is considering a motion to dismiss a lawsuit arguing that redistricted maps don't offer voters a fair election.
And today at 5 p.m., how NC State researchers are part of a team working to improve the navigation technology in self-driving cars. And you book a vacation. You take the vacation. You blink your eyes, bam, the vacation's over. Coming up, the scientific reason to explain why your vacay feels so short.
Plus, the Baltimore port, crippled by a crash involving a cargo ship, is now operating at full capacity. The amazing collaboration that helped get things moving in 11 weeks instead of 11 months.
The Port of Baltimore is now operating at full capacity for the first time since the bridge collapse. And remember, it's only been less than 3 months since the collapse killed 6 workers. Baltimore is the leading port for processing farm equipment, vehicles, construction machinery, and sugar, too. Maryland's governor says a collaborative effort by multiple agencies led to a successful and ahead of schedule reopening.
Many said it would take multiple months for us to get to this point. Some said even up to a year. Well, Maryland, this team did the unimaginable. We got this thing done in 11 weeks.
We got this thing done. Business on the water is open, but the bridge itself, that stays closed. The rebuild is estimated to cost nearly $2 billion and could take until 2028.
Shein is hiking prices by more than a third on some core products in a move to likely boost sales ahead of its initial IPO. In the U.S., Shein has raised the average price for women's dresses by nearly 30% in the past year. The biggest increase is in footwear, with an average pair of shoes selling for $40. Experts say Shein wants to show it can sell more higher-priced products as it reportedly gets set to go public. Americans can now renew their passport online. Right now, the service is only available for a limited number of people a day. The State Department says applications to renew will open midday each day and will close once the limit has been reached. Eligible travelers must be 25 years or older with a valid passport that was issued between 2009 and 2015. You should receive your new passport within 6 to 8 weeks.
Ooh, that's going to be a game changer for a lot of people. You know, it's funny how we take the time to plan for a vacation and then it just kind of, before we even know it, disappears. Pretty rude, right? But it turns out researchers have found people process the passage of time differently. Some people jam-pack their days to make sure they have a fulfilling vacation, while others make sure to have the time just to relax and go with the flow.
If you're paying attention to the passage of time, time will go slowly. And if we are really not paying attention to time because we are enjoying what we are doing, we are just like immersed in the moment, time just goes by in a jiffy.
Also, the build of anticipation, too. Researchers say one way to adjust your perception of time is to think about the feeling you're experiencing, not the duration itself.
Right, good advice. As we head to break, here's a live look at Pinehurst #2 as day one of the U.S. Open is well underway. We'll show you how golfers and spectators are trying to stay safe in these hot conditions.
In a story you'll only see on WRAL, Jeff Hogan follows the journey of a local golfer making his mark at the U.S. Open through the eyes and experiences of his parents. But before we go to a break, here's a look at your winning lottery numbers.
Pinehurst is packed as pro golfers and spectators take in the U.S. Open.
And WRAL's Jeff Hogan joins us live from Pinehurst 2, staying as cool as can be. Jeff, the Open Express train brought even more people to the course this morning.
Oh, yeah, it did. And what a way to enter the course, right? I mean, you talk about different ways of getting here. All the streets are closed, so you can't get cars in here. So what folks did, if they're not parking somewhere and taking a bus in, some people came out of Raleigh. I'm going to show you this train. It's sitting right here behind me. Now, the first one you see there, that colorful red one, that is a ceremonial train. It sits there all the time. They're using that for hospitality and things like that. But the one right behind it there, the blue engine that you see, that is the train that came in from Union Station out of Raleigh. It stopped in Cary, and it'll head back home at 6:35 tonight. An eco-friendly green initiative bringing folks into the tournament in such a unique way. It is so cool. All right, golf. Let's talk about that. Let's get you up to date on the leaderboard. Let's take a look here. Patrick Cantley, Matthew Pavon, they're at 4 under par with Ludwig Oberg at 3 under par. Tony Finau is at 2 under par. These are guys that are well into their round through 15 holes and 14 holes each. But finding some birdies out there on this golf course, no doubt, and it is difficult today. A little wind picking up in the afternoon make it even harder. Brett Neese, by the way, that breeze will feel good for folks who are battling the heat. I've been at the hydration station a couple of times today, and I know a lot of folks have, right?
That's exactly right, Jeff. And world number one golfer Scottie Scheffler just walked up here to the driving range. He'll be drinking plenty of water for his round today as he gets ready to take on the U.S. Open, golf's toughest test. He, along with several other big-time players, are out here on the range right now, and you can see that it's packed. It's a full range as we are heading into those afternoon tee times, and it is a full grandstands here behind the driving range at Pinehurst. It's incredible to see this many people, this many golf fans all in one place. And if you notice, just about every single one of them are wearing a hat. That's because of how hot that sun has been. It's brutal when that sun comes out from behind the clouds. And it's important to have that kind of shade anywhere you go, especially with these grandstands. A lot of these grandstands are not shaded at this point, but plenty of folks drinking water, going to those hydration stations that Jeff mentioned, and really just having a good time. We talked to a couple of local Pinehurst natives that live here and work here, and they say it's incredible to see this many people. Take a listen.
It's crazy because we're a small town. We only have about 18,000 people, so to see all these people here, it's been crazy. Definitely overwhelming for sure.
Yeah, so it's back for the first time in 10 years. The U.S. Open here at Pinehurst. Over 200,000 people expected to walk through the gates over the course of the next few days. Play already underway for golf's toughest test, and of course, world number one just walking by our camera. Pretty cool to see here at Pinehurst. Live in Pinehurst, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
And WRAL is your home for the U.S. Open. Be sure to tune into WRAL for all the action from the first tee to the 18th green. Network coverage begins with the second round, that is tomorrow. And Jeff Hogan and Gerald Owens will, of course, lead our coverage on WRAL live from Pinehurst. You can get all your content on your phone, your tablet, and hey, your TV too.
A new center to protect children in Wake County from abuse opened its doors to the community. Safe Child is the only organization dedicated to eliminating child abuse and providing resources for families. It's designed to help children feel safe as the center works with caseworkers, doctors, child counselors, and law enforcement. Executive Director Kristen Duranja says they now have a place large enough to grow their programs.
But also, in addition to expansion, to create a space that really spoke to providing hope for children, providing promise for their futures, and making sure that they can grow up in nurturing environments.
The center serves families with children from birth up to their 18th birthday.
Still to come, a Cary woman shares her run-in with someone threatening her and coughing on her because she says she wore a health mask in public. Why she says the new bill regarding masks could lead to more harassment.
Keeping minors safe from a supplement lawmakers say is as dangerous as heroin, how easily it can be purchased, and the push by legislators to criminalize it. Download the WRAL News app and take it with you on the go. Keep up with breaking news, weather alerts, and watch our live newscasts wherever you are.
Only on WRAL, a Cary woman who has cancer is sharing her story after she says she was harassed for wearing a mask into a business. The interaction came just one day after state lawmakers passed a bill making it illegal to wear a mask while committing a crime. Now, even though the bill states people can still wear masks for health reasons, some believe it will lead to more harassment like this. Sherry Stewart has stage 4 breast cancer, she says. She also mentions that a customer at a car service center in Cary threatened her and even coughed on her because she was wearing a mask. She claims the man told her wearing a mask is now illegal in North Carolina, which is not true.
If that law is out there, you're still going to get people like the gentleman I encountered today that's going to have something to say to you and get upset that you're wearing it.
Now, WRAL asked House Speaker Tim Moore about this very situation. He said no one should be harassed for wearing a mask for health reasons. Governor Roy Cooper is expected to veto the bill, but Republicans have a veto-proof majority.
A man in Cary made an interesting and scary find while doing some landscaping. He found a grenade buried in his backyard. This happened at the home on Kings Fork Road in Cary. Police and the Raleigh Bomb Squad were called to the scene. The military crew from Fort Liberty safely removed it. They have the expertise. A scan of the property found several rounds of ammunition, but no other devices. It is now up to the state Senate to approve a ban on so-called gas station heroin. House lawmakers approved a ban on tianeptine. It's the main ingredient in products widely available at convenience stores and smoke shops across the state. It's often marketed as dietary supplements or mood enhancers, but it's unregulated, which means children can buy it.
Akshay Bhatia has played in the Masters. He's playing in another major, not his first U.S. Open, but he's trying to do something nobody else has ever done. He's a 34th ranked player in the world, and I'll tell you what he is trying to accomplish. You won't believe nobody's ever done this. Wake Forest product Akshay Bhatia asked his dad at a very early age what's it take to be the #1 player in the world. And his dad said, if you show up at the course every day first and you're the last one to leave, well, then you're going to make it. Today, he takes another step in that quest.
That's mom caddying him. That's dad caddying him.
The days of mom and dad caddying for Akshay Bhatia are over.
For me, the bar was not how good he played or well he played.
So he won 2 silver medals.
It was history. How many times he's in the history books.
And that's how Sonny Bhatia knew Akshay was ready, because very young, he was a force.
You're talking about he was 10 years older.
Even so, imagine hearing these words from your 8th grader. I'm skipping college to turn pro. Mom Renu wanted education as a backup, but Akshay set out on the journey.
If we can't get a hotel, we can't check in till the next day. We'll sleep in the minivan.
A test of will, if not always glamorous. He was 17 when he made his PGA Tour debut. He's 22 now and has won 6 times as a professional.
He wants to win majors and be the #1 player one day. That's his goal.
But there are burdens that would concern any parent. His good friend and practice partner, Grayson Murray, died by suicide recently.
And he's very open. He's open about mental health. He's open about, how he wins or he loses. Like, he's just so transparent.
The pressure is there. He doesn't show it, but the pressure is there. I know. I can tell. As a mom, I can feel it.
And after all the hard work in a sport where there is only ever one winner, a reminder.
I'll say for other parents of athletes, a hug goes a long way.
Oh, that hug. Yeah, well, we would have a group family hug right here if we had Rhea, his sister, who was the first golf star in the family. Renu, are you nervous today?
Yes, I am. I'm, of course, because if I wasn't, I wouldn't be human, right?
We know you're human. We know that you raised a fine son. And Sonny, I tell you, as coach, he's right over there on the putting green. What's going through your mind right now before he takes the tee?
I'm just seeing how he's prepping and getting ready and staying to his pre-shots and pre-round tournaments. And it's very regimented, and he looks really focused, and we're excited to be here.
And his practice the last couple days?
We only saw one day of it, and it looked really good. He said, Dad, it's a tough course. I go, well, yeah, it's tough for everyone. But I think he'll do well. He'll do well here.
That family atmosphere, when we talk about Rhea and we talk about the entire family, what does that mean that gets him through tough times like this? Because he seems so calm and unassuming about it.
Support from his team, from his family, from his parents, his sister, his fiance Presley, and our friends, most of all.
On the course, he's going to draw on his golf team. Explain to folks what has been put around him as far as coaches and all that makes the team.
Right. So we started this process a long time ago, about 14, 15 years old. Like, we were always scouting for a management team, which we got an incredible management team around him. He's now, since he's a professional, he has individual coaches. He has a mental coach, which is very, very important for any junior athlete. He has a putting coach. He has a swing coach, he has a short game coach, and his therapist is here walking around with him on the practice, just to make sure he has whatever he needs to create a good result. And most of all, just to be happy.
I know that Phil Mickelson took him under his wing, okay? Another lefty. No lefty has ever won the U.S. Open. Does that change this weekend?
It can change. I hope so. We are cheering for him, and I'm sure he'll do his best to get there.
What would that be like on Father's Day if you let that creep into your mind a little bit?
Yeah, it would. And I wouldn't be surprised. But again, the secret is to stay out of the bushes over here.
That is true. Very true. We thank you so much for your time, for the story, and for coming out here today, and enjoy the walk around Pinehurst.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So great hearing from them. What a joy it is as parents to see your son discover his passion and follow his dream. WRAL is your home for the U.S. Open. Be sure to tune in to WRAL for all the action from the first tee to the 18th green. Network coverage begins with the second round tomorrow.
And Jeff Hogan and Gerald Owens will lead our coverage on WRAL live from Pinehurst. You can get all of our content on your phone, your tablet, and your TV. And of course, the weather, obviously, one of the biggest things out there, right? When their golfers are out there, it's going to be hot. Meteorologist Kat Campbell has been tracking what the temperatures are looking like right now and what they'll be for the weekend.
They're going to be in the 90s this afternoon in Pinehurst, Chris. It's 83 there right now, and the heat index is 84. The heat index is now up to 88 here in Raleigh as well as Durham. It's pretty toasty out here on the WRAL weather patio. I have a little fan right there that's keeping me cool. It's a stroller fan that I clipped onto one of our stands out here, and it's working great. So get the water, get the sunscreen. If you can get a fan today, you'll want it. A little personal fan out there at Pinehurst would be a good idea if you're headed that way, especially tomorrow. Tomorrow is even hotter. We continue to monitor a disorganized area of low pressure offshore. It is going to bring a risk for rip currents this weekend, whether or not it were to develop. But we're also going to monitor some energy that swings in from the northwest. That'll bring a 20% chance of rain tomorrow night. That is our only chance for rain on the entire 7-day forecast. So let's take a look here at Futurecast. The center of low pressure is going to be offshore tomorrow at noon, right in that location. It'll be 94 here locally tomorrow. We'll watch for some clouds at the coast from that system, but no rain expected there. For us, we would see the best chance of a shower or storm as we get past sunset tomorrow evening is what I'm thinking. Again, it's only a 20% chance for rain, but it is our only chance for rain on the 7-day we have to even talk about. And then Saturday, behind that system, we actually get a little bit of a shift in our wind direction. So our wind out of the north isn't going to cool us down in a significant manner, but we go from the mid-90s down to the lower 90s. So we'll take what we can get this time of year. It's a little bit of a dip in humidity for the weekend as well. That'll be feeling pretty good if you have Father's Day weekend plans. Don't forget, Father's Day is on Sunday, and we are forecasting 90 for the high on Sunday. For tomorrow, 94 degrees would be the hottest day so far this year. We're in the low 90s both days this weekend. It feels pretty good out there this weekend with a small dip in humidity, at least for June. Lake Gaston, the place to be. Check out the pontoon boat. Those folks are exactly where I want to be right now. It looks like a nice place to beat the heat today. So is Carr Lake. Check out our gorgeous WRAL Weather Watcher photo today. This is from Tammy Turner. So thank you so much for sharing this. If you have a photo you'd like to share with us and see it on TV, go to WRAL.com, search Weather Watchers, and we can share some of those throughout the day and check in to see if your photo makes it at 4 o'clock today. Your 7-day forecast is hot, 90s. Each and every day. So there's really not any break from the summer heat coming our way. High temperatures will be in the low to mid 90s. We do get a little bit of a dip in low temperatures this weekend. We'll be back in the mid 60s as we head into Sunday morning instead of the 70s. And keep in mind, as we get into the summer months, the warmer the low temperatures are at night, the more humid it feels. So that's kind of a little trick you can use when looking at our 7-day forecast. Just keep the water handy today.
Definitely will. All right, thanks, Kat. 3 versions of a popular instant noodle brand are banned in one European country. We'll talk about the reason behind the decision after the break.
And here's a look at your winning Powerball numbers: 19, 30, 31, 61, 62. The Powerball is 21, and the Power Play is 2.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines that we're following today.
The 124th U.S. Open is now in full swing at Pinehurst number 2. WRAL is your home for the U.S. Open. Be sure to tune in to WRAL for all the action from the first tee to the 18th green. Network coverage begins with the second round tomorrow. Jeff Hogan and Gerald Owens are spearheading our coverage on WRAL live from Pinehurst. You can get all of our content on our phone, tablet, and TV.
NC State is asking the highest court in the state to block outside access to Pohl Hall. This week's filing marks the second time NC State has challenged a Superior Court's decision to permit independent testing of the building. Last November, the university closed Pohl Hall after toxic chemicals known as PCBs were discovered inside.
The U.S. Supreme Court unanimously rejected an effort to restrict access to the abortion pill. A group of anti-abortion doctors questioned the FDA's decision to make it easier to get mifepristone. The court ruling means opponents cannot sue over ideological or moral issues. Another regulatory decision left in place means women can still obtain the pill within 10 weeks of pregnancy instead of 7.
Denmark is recalling 3 types of ramen for being too spicy. The country's Veterinary and Food Administration recalled 3 variations of the fire chicken flavor of popular brand Samyang. The DFVA says that they could cause acute poisoning, and the department says the noodles contain a high dose of caspasian, I'm butchering that, but it's spicy, a naturally occurring chemical often found in chili peppers, so you know. No accidents, though, have been reported.
Today, fans of Bridgerton will be glued to their Netflix accounts. In case you didn't know, part 2 of Bridgerton season 3 is out, but wait until after our newscast to watch it.
I've always loved you, Colin. There is nothing that makes me happier than being with you.
You have not told him. The final 4 episodes were released at 3 this morning. Fans will find out the conclusion to the love story of Colin and Penelope.
In recent days, we have seen send-offs for NC State and UNC baseball teams and even Olympic hopefuls, but a pep rally in South Africa takes the entire cake. I feel like I could take on the world now. In South Africa, rugby teams go out their way to outdo one other team with their game chats. Now, we don't know if they won the game, but this high school team might have the ultimate battle cry. I'd say so.
Yes, teamwork makes the dream work. Our cat of the day was rescued along with her 3 newborn kittens. The kittens have all found their homes, and now it's Dakota's turn. Dakota is a 2-year-old spayed female cat. She's been through a lot of changes over the past few months, so she's looking for a patient family who can help her get her settled into a new, stable environment. Dakota would love to have a tall cat tree by window for bird watching, maybe a nice soft bed for cozy nights in. For more information, please visit spcawake.org. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL and your next local news update in 30 minutes.
And as you know, you can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Hope you have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.